No, this is our first sighting of the slot machines. Do you like to gamble?
Only the slot machines because I never lose. Ask me why.
Why do you never lose?
Because I just put my money in and press coin return.
So you never, no temptation at all to gamble at Caesars?
I lose a quarter a time. They're not going to get rich off of me.
Yeah, no, so they're not booking you for your gambling.
I take my money home.
On the way to our corner table, we encountered a couple of Rita's oldest fans.
Oh, look! It's my best friends, Caesar and Julie. I mean, Julie and Cleo. Oh, thank you very much. I love a man with a good body.
Did you just paint
Rock
the bat
hard.
suit white? Is that how we did this?
No, so this is taken off my own physique, of course.
Okay, and Cleo.
Look at Patrick.
Cleo, I don't know how to tell you this. There's a chicken sitting on your head.
Is that what it is?
Yes.
What do you recommend that we order?
The Caesar salad.
Oh, I love that
Caesar
you said
salad.
that.
Always a plug for the man. All right, let's go. Enjoy your lunch.
Thank you.
And Rita Rudner, this is wonderful. Thank you for bringing us to Caesars with the slot machines rolling in the background.
Yes, well, it's either that or someone's having indigestion.
One quick question. Do you have enough iced tea?
I know. I said, could I please have a vase of iced tea? And they took me seriously. But I just want to assure our viewers it's okay because we're hooked up to urine bags under the table.
How about some of your very special observations about men in food and women in food, Rita Rudner?
Okay, well, you can interrupt me at any time if I'm wrong or if you disagree.
All right, fine.
And do I have any iced tea in my teeth? No, I'm okay. Okay, so what drives my husband crazy, well, one of the many things is I'm too specific when I order things.
Really? How
yeah,
so?
well, I have to ask the waiter a lot of questions, and finally he got angry at me the other day, and he said, "It's chicken, Rita, do you need a biopsy? What do you mean? Order the chicken." Because, like, even the soup, I have to know, like, everything about the soup when I order, because a lot goes on in soup. And there may have been a step that I disapprove of.
So you want to know everything.
Along the way in the making of the soup.
How about in general men in food?
Well, my husband is English, so before we married, his idea of health food was spaghetti with cream sauce. He said, and I said, "Martin, you know, it's cream sauce." And he said, "Yes, but it's not fried. Isn't it healthy if it's not fried?"
If it's not fried.
So that's his only criteria. If it's not fried, he thinks it's health food. He's better now because now I've introduced him to salad. I said, "Martin, meat, lettuce." Lettuce, this is Martin. And I've gotten them I've gotten them together occasionally.
One of my favorite lines of yours is, and I think I remember from reading in one of your books, is if a man makes a salad for you with
three different types of lettuce, he's serious. That's it. I was dating someone and I didn't really like him, and he invited me over to his apartment, and I looked at how many different types of lettuce he had in the salad, and I went, "Oh no, he's serious."
So what do you want? Let's get an order out.
Okay, we're gonna do.
Because you have to eat.
I'm starting with steamed clams.
That's very few calories.
Because that's close to an oyster, and an oyster is close to jewelry. So I want to start with something that might be jewelry at some point.
I will start with something your husband would probably like: barbecue duck and wild mushroom quesadilla. You know, the wild mushrooms. They have to go out and
wild and crazy mushrooms. Steve Martin, wild
mushrooms.
Okay, let's do that.
And how about your entree?
My entree, I feel a roasted tapenade. Am I saying it right? I'm so bad. That's not the right way to say it.
That sounds fine to me.
Crusted. I got that one.
Crusted.
Crusted salmon. I'm going to have salmon.
Right.
And you know, sometimes I make salmon at home, but I just put a little calamine lotion on it and fry it up, and it's delicious. Okay, this is going to be good.
I'm going to try. Have you ever heard of this? Grilled turkey filet mignon. You know what that is?
That must be turkey with a little meat in it. I don't know.
It's a large turkey, and it's the breast of a large turkey. It's the center of the breast, and they make it. We're going to see what they do, but I'm fascinated by it.
You're a breast man, aren't you? I can tell.
You have pretty nice legs, you know, a former dancer. What do you like in a restaurant, and what do you don't like in a restaurant, Rita?
Well, I'm pretty good. I like any kind of restaurant because whenever I'm in a restaurant, I know that anything they prepare for me and give to me is going to be better than what I could do for myself.
So what don't you like in a restaurant, Rita?
I don't like in a restaurant when it's too fancy. Really? You know, I get uncomfortable that maybe I'm not classy enough to eat in the restaurant. Too much silverware. And I don't like when they don't put the prices on the menus.
No, we have our prices.
Yeah, because
so
that's
you're comfortable
scary.
here? I mean, there are lots of places we could have chosen. You could have chosen in Caesars, but
yes, no.
this is your style.
I think this is a perfect place because it has your selection. I like when you can get pasta if you want it, or meat if you want, but I don't like if it's all meat and all pasta. I need choices available to me at any time.
Well, your clams are on the way.
Our appetizers, Rita's steamed clams and my wild mushroom and duck quesadilla.
These clams are really, really delicious.
What do you like about them?
Well, what I really like about them is they're so small. How could they be fattening? I mean, this cannot make you fat. How many of these would you have to eat before you would gain
Couple
weight?
thousand.
I know.
Yeah.
So no, I'm really into these.
See, I didn't think that when you ordered that. But then there really is method in your madness. Is this, what is comfort food for Rita Rudner?
Well, I think I go back to my mommy. What my mommy used to make for me, and she was quite a cook.
Really?
Oh yes, spaghetti and ketchup.
Come, seriously?
Yeah, I used to love spaghetti and Heinz tomato ketchup.
You never really set out to learn to cook or to really, all those years on the road in comedy clubs, always ordering out. You never really said, someday I'm going to study Le Cordon Bleu. I'm going to really get some cookbooks and learn to make something.
I feel, first of all, it's not that I avoid recipes. I read recipes, but I read them the same way I read science fiction. Really, I get to the end and think, well, that's not going to happen.
It's not going to happen
No,
because I'm not going to do it.
that's just it. But they always throw something in this stupid recipe that I don't understand.
Like,
I'll be going along and they'll have all these, and all of a sudden there'll be tomato seeds, and castanga juice or something.
Where do we get castanga juice?
I don't know. And then you got to cook it in a hatchet bowl or something, and you got to shimmy it. I don't know.
how about
I
temptations?
just don't know.
What really, obviously, you're a former dancer. We'll talk about that later. You're in very good shape, very demure manners. What really tempts you? There must be things like out there on the boardwalk, the fudge, the funnel cake, the saltwater taffy, that kind of say, Rita, come out here and eat us.
Well, I think if I'm ever really ill, and I'm very lucky that I'm not, but if I'm ever hooked up to an IV, I would like a milkshake. And it's just a milkshake, just going through. I could never stop drinking milkshakes for the rest of my life. Vanilla.
Those tempting treats that can be found all along the boardwalk in Atlantic City include homemade lemonade, fudge, saltwater taffy, funnel cakes, and frozen custard. And one of the best food venues on the boardwalk is Lopresti's, which has been owned and operated by the Lopresti family for more than 10 years.
Lopresti Pizza, numero uno, italiano, siciliano.
Coming up next, more food from Atlantic City, including a succulent salmon dish from Caesar's Kitchen.
We place the salmon right over the top.
And Rita Rudner questions the intelligence of fish.
I don't think they share information.
Why?
Don't you think by now someone would have mentioned the hook?
We're in Atlantic City, that seaside gambling mecca, with comedian Rita Rudner at Caesars.
I don't know.
Rita's choice is the Rotunda restaurant, which is elaborately decorated in the Roman tradition and serves a diverse menu of American favorites, including steak and lobster. Rotunda's executive chef Heiko Ben Dixon prepared Rita's entree, the tapenade of crusted salmon. Heiko coats the salmon with shallot, garlic, chives, salt and pepper, white wine, and olive oil,
Teaspoon. And we just mix this whole thing up.
and then sears it for 1 minute on each side.
When that's done, we'll walk over to the oven, place it into a preheated oven at 325 degrees for approximately 5 minutes, and finish the fish so it's cooked.
Midway through the cooking process, the salmon is spread with a Kalamala olive tapenade, and then placed in the oven to finish cooking, while Heiko prepares a zesty vinaigrette.
The last touch to the vinaigrette will be the champagne vinegar. And we add like 2 tablespoons to it. Just give it a quick heat. Let it reduce a little bit.
The salmon is placed on a bed of spinach and dressed with a vinaigrette.
Let it run right into the plate.
With Rita.
But what about this? This is the turkey filet mignon.
Bill, before you do that.
Yes.
I don't know how to tell you this, but I think someone threw up on your dinner.
It's a first for this show.
I had to say.
You know, I knew it was suspicious looking. How long is it going to take me to recover from that one? All right, I can do it. I can do
Okay,
it.
no,
Mind over matter.
No, I'm a comedian. I have to say
no, that's
terrible
cool,
things
but
about
I want
people's
to
hard
excavate
work.
this. This is
That is an archaeological
turkey
feast.
filet mignon. What do you think?
Wow, that's fantastic.
I'll put some on the side. For
Put
you.
on the side
Why
because
not?
because that's another thing my husband hates about me.
What's that?
Everything he orders looks better than what I order for myself. So after I finish doing my intricate order, I take his food and he has to eat my food. But that's what marriage is about.
Well, that's when you're trying to. See, you're trying to cut calories, and what he orders isn't. Like, you're going to really like this. Here,
I
take
know.
a piece
Look
of that.
at that.
Yeah.
That is so good.
I'm going to have a taste here.
I'm going to have a taste of yours too. Is that bad?
No.
And then my husband says, "Why are you eating mine before you're eating yours?" But
a
this is
very-
what I do.
Buttery kind of corn on top of it. Isn't that good?
Mmm.
It must be a very large breast of turkey that this is coming from.
I think this is the Pamela Anderson turkey.
Rita is well known for her comedy, but she started her career in show business at age 15 when she left home to become a dancer.
When they're that young. And the problem with being a dancer is it all happens in New York.
Right.
And many girls, young girls, come to New York when they're that age to study with the best teachers.
Where did you live?
Well, I had a little problem because most girls come with their mother, and my mother had died.
I know that.
Yeah. So I still desperately wanted to be a dancer. And I found, my father and I went and we researched it, and we found a hotel for women. And it was called the Barbizon Hotel for Women.
Oh, over in
Right,
Lexington
and
and 63rd.
I found out not only was it convenient to the ballet schools, it was convenient to Bloomingdale's. So both B's, I could go to both B's.
You could dance and
yeah,
shop.
dance and
That's what you
shop.
dropped.
What else could a woman want? So I lived there, and I kind of went on my own little study course and took jazz and tap and ballet.
By yourself? Age 15 in New York City.
Yeah, I don't know. I was weird, but it made me happy at the time.
Now, during that period of time, and obviously you met with success, so you were a wonderful dancer.
I got my first professional job when I was 16.
And where was that?
I did the national tour of Zorba.
Zorba.
With Cheetah Rivera and John Raitt.
Wow.
And I got my equity card. And then right after that, I came back and started doing Broadway shows.
What went through your mind when you made a decision to become a comedian? Because before 1980, it's on record that people who knew you did not think of you as being funny. You actually made a conscious decision. I want to be a comedian. I'm going to study Woody Allen and Jack Benny and make myself into a comedian. Well done.
I know, isn't that weird?
You did that.
I don't know how I did it. I went to a psychiatrist, but I forgot to ask. And now I think it's too late for me to call her and say, why did I do this? But it must have been something that was dormant inside of me that I must have been funny. I was so shy I didn't say anything because, you know, if you're verbal, you don't really become a dancer. Because
That's
you
right.
become a dancer because you're not really
You don't
interested in
communicate
talking.
through
Yeah. Okay, so then so I go and I said, I was in Annie, did 6 Broadway shows.
Yeah.
And I noticed there weren't a lot of female comedians. And I also noticed that there weren't a lot of, how can I say this, men. I mean, there are men in dancing, and
Right.
they're wonderful men. And I had lovely shopping partners. But I was interested in the man-woman thing. And I said, what kind of man do I like? I like funny men. Where do funny men go? I said, funny men, comedians. I like comedians. So it kind of all came together where I could meet men and learn a craft where there weren't many women, because there wouldn't be a lot of female competition for the men that were actually in the comedic circle. And then I started with this comedy thing, and somehow I loved it, and I loved the science of it, and I was just fascinated with what makes somebody laugh. Like
Rita made us laugh with her thoughts about fish.
Okay, so fish.
Fish.
I don't think they share information.
Why?
Don't you think by now someone would have mentioned the hook?
All these things come down.
There's
or
a
nets.
things that, yeah, don't you think by now there would be a rumor down there that
Something's
when you
going
see
on.
a string and a hook, that
Go around.
go around it and go for something more natural? If there's a worm dangling in the middle of the water,
No.
not for you? Okay,
point.
okay, these are my thoughts on fish.
Well, can I coax you into some dessert after you finish your sandwich?
Absolutely.
All right, good. We will.
Or maybe some of your dessert.
Well, you can have as much of mine as long as I can have some of yours.
Okay.
When we return, the secret to making dough in Atlantic City.
There you go. It's nice and golden there.
And Rita's bad experience with her personal chef.
I found raspberries in December. Oh, good, they're only $78 a raspberry. So happy you're spending my money so freely.
Rita, have you ever had a funnel cake?
No, I've never had any fun at all.
Funnel cake.
Oh, funnel cake.
Funnel cake, yeah.
Oh, I thought you meant actual fun. No, I've never had one of those either.
Have you ever seen a funnel cake?
Does it look like a funnel?
Well, actually, Rita, it's named for the funnel from which the batter is poured. Lopresti's Boardwalk stand offers 7 kinds of funnel cake. And Frank Lopresti showed us how it's made. He begins by pouring the batter into a mold in hot oil.
We're pouring it out of the funnel here. And the key is to go in a circle, to make everything stick together.
It's fried until golden brown on each side, shaken dry, and topped with powdered sugar.
And this is why the kids love funnel cake.
But back in the Rotunda restaurant in Caesars, we're having dessert. Rita has the mixed berries, and I have the creme de formaggio. Or so I thought.
Well, you know what? Your dessert looks better than mine anyway.
So you want to shift?
So pretend you're my husband.
She's
And
done
you
it to me,
take
too.
mine,
Okay.
and then I'll take yours.
Hey, in your house, do you do
I can
your
feel
own...
the chair getting tighter.
the chair?
Yeah.
Do you do your own shopping for food and things like that, or do you have people who do that for you?
Because I'm so horrible, and my husband got so sick of having Chinese food delivered to our home. And, you know, it got to the point where we'd set a place for the guy who was delivering
The
it.
delivery man
yeah.
and stuff, the greasy bags. right?
Absolutely. I said, just sit down and have something, because at this time he's a member of the family. So we hired a cook for about a year.
How'd that work?
It was terrible.
Why?
Because I had no control over anything. And, you know, I mean, he was fine, and but then he'd go and he'd do the shopping and he'd bring it home, and I'd open the refrigerator and I'd go, who lives here? You know, I didn't buy any of this. And then I'd go to do something, and he would come in like, you know, I found raspberries in December. Oh, good, they're only $78 a raspberry. So happy you're spending my money so freely. So it was just awful.
Shocking, almost shocking.
Yeah.
Now, you've been married 11 years.
11
happily
lovely years.
married, Martin
Martin Bergman.
Bergman, right, is your husband. Is it tough for a guy to be married to a comedian? I mean, men are so much the targets of your wit.
I know, but you know what I have in my little head? I know, not very bright, but I know that my marriage is more important to me than anything.
Yeah.
And that if he doesn't like something I say, then I don't say it. You know, and I would
Really?
never. No.
You're really serious about that?
Absolutely. There were like 2 or 3 jokes that I've written in the course of I'd say 11 years.
Right.
I think there were only 2 that he didn't like.
He didn't like him, so you.
I just
not
threw
like
him out.
Joan Rivers. Boy, she just took it as far as she could go. You know.
Well, I think it depends on you know
The
what
way
your
you do it.
relationship
But
is.
you really
but
didn't want him to.
no, I would
You
never.
want to test him.
No, no. If he minds it, I don't say it. So I just throw it out. I'll think of something else funny. Go.
Now, let's suppose, God willing, will knock wood, that Rita Rudner and Bill Boggs can return. You're still going strong. I'm still going strong. We're back here in 10 years. What do you want to be able to say about the 10 years of your life that has passed?
I didn't get any fatter. Am I shallow?
Stop eating, right?
I think I'm shallow. No, I think, okay, you want to know a real thing that won't be funny?
Yeah.
I just love creating things. Like one of my Martin and I write movies
I
together,
know.
and I've just written a book that I'm hoping will get published next year.
Bestseller?
Called Tickled Pink, about the friendship between 2 women. And I love the act of creation. So Martin and I just love creating things. And I think we just love to look back and say we created something we're proud of.
Wonderful. Well, you know, we like to close all of our Bill Boggs Corner Table shows with a toast.
Okay.
Now, comedians frequently have proven to be the worst toasters.
Oh, I'm not.
In the whole series.
I think I'm going to be one of the bad
pressure is
ones.
really on for you to deliver a toast here to our Food Network viewers, and we'll do it with our
What
Massive
should-
iced teas.
Can I have some kind of forklift to help me lift this bowl of iced tea I have?
All right.
Can I have a vat of tea? Okay, so this is my toast. May no one who eats at my house ever throw up afterwards.
You did it. Rita Rudner, you're a delight. Thank you very much.
You're
for being
very
with us.
welcome.
The biggest- If we could just go out on the boardwalk for one more tempting treat.
Can I go to the bathroom first?
No.
Okay, that's going to be interesting.
Well, you've got the bag.